and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. And today, guys, we have a cheeky look at Zilliqa for you. Specifically, we've got two things we want to talk about. One, there's this fantastic piece of news, isn't there, Chris? All about whiskey. Who doesn't like a bit of whiskey, right?
Definitely. I like a bit of whiskey. Really do.
So fantastic. We're going to be talking about an incredibly rare whiskey collection that's been tokenized on Zilliqa. So we're going to have a look at that. And then once we get through that fantastic piece of news, we're going to start talking about price. So we're going to have a look at the Zilliqa chart. We're going to have a look at what potentially is in store for Zilliqa and the ZIL token in the short term before potentially, reaching some fantastic highs during 2021. So if you do find this video useful, informative, or maybe just a dash entertaining, do go ahead and smash that like button. Chris really does appreciate it. And if you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. Right, with all that said and done, Chris, should we jump over to the desktop and take a look at this fantastic news?
Yeah, Nick, let's get straight into it. Love this project.
Fantastic. So here we are, right? Cast of Distinction. Love it. So Zilliqa tokenizes a rare whiskey collection, boosting investment possibilities. So with the tokenization of a rare whiskey collection, accredited investors can now own some of the world's rarest whiskies listed on a private exchange. So basically, this was news broke on Monday, the 18th of January. Basically, Zilliqa utilizes blockchain technology to tokenize Cast of Distinction, a collection of rare single malt Scotch whiskies, as a security. The rare whiskey collection was listed on a private exchange, HG Exchange or HGX, and basically, by tokenizing the luxury asset, accredited investors get to own a fraction of the rare whiskey. The Cast of Distinction boasts of the rarest and highest quality whiskies from leading distilleries are in Scotland, and with some of the casks going for a whopping £1 million sterling, or approximately $1.25 million, depending on whatever the exchange rate is today. So, I think this is absolutely fantastic news to see that Zilliqa is tokenizing real world assets. This is something that normally you see with something like VeChain, or even seen it with a few other blockchain technologies such as Stellar, and there is another one, and it escapes me for now, but I'm sure we'll come back to that shortly. But yeah, I think it's fantastic. You do like a whiskey, don't you, Chris? So you'll be able to potentially get some here on Zilliqa, which is fantastic to see. But it doesn't just end there with getting a fraction of that rare whiskey. Instead, following the maturity and bottling, investors can either trade these security assets on the HGX, or opt to get a physical bottle of the whiskey, right? Which is fantastic. Tokenizing such rare assets could see a boost in investments from more investors, as it provides liquidity, right? And with the utilization of blockchain technology for the rare whiskey tokenization, the casks are traceable, they're accountable, and they're transparent. And to reduce the rate of counterfeiting, which is a big issue, the whiskey carries unique digital tags, which lists vital transaction details for every single bottle. And again, this is something normally it's in that world of realm of VeChain, and they do that incredibly well in terms of supply chain tracking, counterfeiting protection, and all that good stuff. And it's another fantastic use case here for Zilliqa, moving things further forward. And yeah, back in December 2020, a research centre from the University of Glasgow, in conjunction with blockchain company Everledger, used anti-tamper bottle tags for rare whiskies for traceability and to combat counterfeiting. So yeah, I think it's absolutely fantastic here to see such a fantastic real-world use case of blockchain technology, and it just makes me more and more bullish on these kind of projects that actually do have this real world use case. And commenting on the development was HGX's COO. He's basically saying that powered by Zilliqa's technology, this project also signals the importance of blockchain in investments. They're secure, affordable, and scalable protocol has made Cask's tokenization a practical and efficient endeavor. This project is just the beginning for a market that has so much opportunity, and I have no doubt we will unlock more possibilities together. And I think, yeah, if we look just down here as well, apart from where Whiskey's tokenization has, basically crossed many other sectors. And this was reported back in March of 2020, where Polymath is the other project that does tokenization. Basically, they were tokenizing a securities token platform was utilized by 𝗏swan. So, Polymath was utilized by 𝗏swan for real estate, where they tokenized over $2 billion worth of real estate. And this thing is just going to get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger as time goes. And real estate is the key example that we often bring up on this channel, isn't it, Chris? Because basically, real estate globally is worth $217 trillion. We've seen a dash of it, only 24 million, I think it was, on the Stellar blockchain. We have 2 billion here on the Polymath. So, it's tiny fractions, but as this thing grows, it's going to be absolutely astronomical. So I think asset tokenization remains one of the popular blockchain adoption use cases amongst participants in the industry. Indeed, novel tech has been used to tokenize assets in markets such as real estate, art, and crafts, among others. And you see a lot of it with things like Stellar, VeChain, Polymath, and I think now we can comfortably add Zilliqa to that list as well. So fantastic news! I think this is going to be it's going to really be a good thing for Zilliqa to get into this space. Right, with that out of the way, Chris, shall we go ahead and take a look at the Zilliqa chart and get into what the price looks like?
Yeah, before we do, Nick, I just think that we should call out the sort of thing that this news is describing is exactly what we look for in projects when we're investing in them. So, for us, this is big news.
It really is big news, isn't it? You cannot stress just how important it is to actually have a use case for a project and something that you can actually tangibly see happening in the real world, and it's fantastic. Right, let's jump over to this. Right, so this is the Zilliqa chart. This is a Zilliqa on the USD on the daily chart. Okay, from here we have a Fibonacci retracement. This goes from the low level of the 11th of December and the high level here of the 27th of December. In that motion up, we can see we consolidated down all the way into this zone here. And basically it's a retest of an area that kind of had to happen at some point in order to move us out of this zone. So that retest happened at the 5.1 cent. It was a bit painful to see after all that motion up here. So some people potentially were shaken out of the market when Bitcoin had its correction. That's what that big candle actually symbolizes. In this chart, we had this upward trend, and basically when Bitcoin had its correction, the market corrected with it, and it broke our upward trend line. Instead of completely destroying it, that trend line actually flipped. Instead of a support trend line, became a resistance trend line in the upward direction. So we're still following the same trend, but instead of being on this side of the line, we're actually on the underside, and it's a bit of resistance that we need to break through. With that being said, in the last few days, we've seen some pretty good candles. We saw a leg out of here, touching and closing above our 61 Fibonacci level. Then the day after that, we had a bit of an indecisive market, still a green candle, but not massive. It came down, retested that Fibonacci level, and also tested our 7.7 resistance level. Then yesterday, immediately after that, we broke up, again, retested the low level, but broke up out of that 7.7 resistance. Closed above there, but today's pulled it back down. Looks like we're still testing that 61 Fibonacci. This could potentially be the last test of this zone, though. I feel that enough testing here has happened that we could potentially be looking for the upside. So I'm anticipating that we're actually going to break 7.7 again at the point of this video going out. If it hasn't done so already, I'm expecting it today. We hopefully, if it's a strong enough motion out of there by breaking this trend, if we get enough momentum, we should hopefully flip this upward trend line from resistance to support again. So my aim here is to breach the 78 Fibonacci level. We need to get above there and close above it. If we can close above that zone, I imagine a retest on this trend line before potentially taking a step out of here and crossing that 9.7 cent high level in our Fibonacci. Okay, if we do that, then we should be on the motion to go for our first price target, with that price target being 13.9 cents. Okay, so we could see a significant increase in the value of ZIL in a very short space of time if we get those key motions happening. Okay, if we go ahead and take a look, once we get past that 13.9, I imagine we'll have a consolidation period in here, a bit of a cooling, and then another leg up where we go after the second price target. The second price target is 20 cents and 0.7, so 20.7 cents. Okay, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. I imagine we'd have a bit of a cooling period, a consolidation after the first price target, and then we'll go after this one. And again, we'll probably end up adjusting some of our levels of our Fibonacci just to make sure that we are looking at the correct data, making sure we have the correct trend lines and the correct resistance and supports to make sure that we can do this. But this will evolve over time. So do stay with us as we do visit the Zilliqa chart frequently. After that 20.7, we have 27.5. That's our third price target that we have earmarked here on the ZIL chart. And this one, again, once we have this one nailed, the 20.7, I don't think achieving 27.5 being any difficult. I think it's going to be relatively straightforward. And then obviously we have the highest level here on the Fibonacci extensions. This comes in at 31.8 cents. But to be honest with you, by the time we get to that, we should be well on our way to some of those much higher price points anyway. And we probably would have adjusted our Fibonacci retracements to indicate slightly different price points. And, you know, ultimately, those are not the highest points that we're going to see for ZIL during 2021. We're quite bullish, I guess, you know, maybe not as not as bullish as others, but I think ultimately, you know, $1 ZIL token is pretty comfortable and is something that we should be expecting to see during 2021. I'm not sure if you align to that, Chris.
Yeah, I'm aligned to that, Nick, for sure.
Absolutely, yeah. So, you know, these are just kind of like the short-term price targets that we want to see hitting. And then, you know, we have those higher price targets in mind. And obviously, we'll start seeing those as we adjust our Fibonacci and as the supports of resistance and trend lines start to show themselves as the year progresses. So for now, it's looking very, very good. A little frustrating with the Bitcoin correction, but nonetheless, our support line, our trend line is still valid. It is just actually a resistance trend line rather than support trend line, and it is still doing well. Once we get past this, I think we're going to be off to the races again. We've had a bit of a stalling, but other than that, I think Zilliqa is doing some fantastic real world you know, use cases. It's doing fantastic things there, and the ZIL token itself as a currency is also doing incredibly well. Chris, is there anything you would like to add?
No, I don't think there's anything else I can add, Nick, to be honest.
Fantastic. Right, so guys, if you found this useful, informative, do go ahead and smash that like button. Chris really does appreciate it, and so do I. And if you're new to the channel and not yet subscribed, do go ahead and subscribe to the channel. By subscribing, you will be kept up to date with all the videos and live streams that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And with all that said and done, we hope you have a fantastic day, guys, and we'll catch you all in the next one.
Take care.